Thank you, Michael, for this brief introduction. So I founded, after the research project, I founded the first startup, which is a spin-off of the music academy of the Hochschule für Musik, which is called the Swiss Music Lab, where we continued developing this educational app. It's called TunyStones. And let's right away go into the app. And maybe some of you already know this character. It's Tuny. And today I would like to speak about Tuny as a revolutionary. So he is a revolutionary in a certain sense, which I will dive in afterwards. And you know probably that this is the game character of the app. So he's the first character of the app, and I will tell you a bit more. So he's a pianist, composer, and adventurer. Also, he's a guitarist since very recently. He's born in 2016 here in Basel, at the Musikschule Basel. Actually, before the research project was happening, he was... Oh, that's going away. Okay, now. Should be right. So before we started the research project, he was already born. He was born in an analog way, and during the research project, he became a digital character. His hobbies are swimming and jumping. He is a very, very patient person, and he never gives up. So you will hardly see Tuny tired. And as I said, he's the first character of the TunyStones app, but not the last one. And he's, since a very short time, in a relation. And if you're curious, you should just download the app and see who is the one. Okay, so ich habe keine Lust zu lernen. I don't want to learn. I don't want to make homework. I don't want to practice. This is something you can hear from kids who link learning with something tiring, boring, with a kind of work which isn't really fun. And I would like to play. This is something you hear from kids in every time of the day, actually in the night. And so it's hardly a moment where kids wouldn't say, I would like to play. And most obvious thing to do, if you like kids to learn, is to make learning equal playing. And this is what we try to do in a very certain field, which is reading music. Yes, reading music. So this is a topic which is very well known to all piano teachers, and we're all very aware how important this is. This is like a door opener for the great repertoire of our music history. So it's very important, if you learn music, to be able to read music. And it's important to do it early enough so that you are sure that you get fluent with it. Because the basics of music readings are pretty fine, pretty easy. But to get fluent with it takes time and takes practice. And in order to keep practicing and keep being and getting more and more fluent with it, you need to have a character like Tuny. So you need to be patient, and you need to actually never get tired. So this is, for example, a piece which you would learn in very early stages at the piano. It's very easy, but as you can see, for kids, it may appear a bit abstract, and yeah, it's maybe not the most attractive thing to have in front of you if you like to play music, because you just like to play music. But there, you spend some time, like a couple of minutes, even sometimes, to find the first note if you're a beginner. So it may become very frustrating. And so what we did, we turned the music notation system into a playful environment, actually into a game environment. So we turned the music notation system into a river, we turned the notes into stones, And of course, we came up with Tuny, the game character, who is jumping from one stone to another, or if you miss the right tone, he falls into the water and is being pushed back by the river. And he needs to jump one more time. Okay, this is an example of Tuny in action.
Yes!
So you can see reading music can be fun. This is actually a surprising and good news for music teachers. And he's doing actually exactly the same what every kid is doing when reading music. It's the exactly same cognitive effort. So he's trying to find the right notes, and finally, when completing, he's very much happier than you would usually be after reading these few notes. This is now what happens in the very beginning of the game. So it's pretty hard to find one note in this whole, or one stone in this big notation system. It's a very precise thing. It's just one note is just one sound on the piano. So what we do in the very beginning, oh, sorry. I would like to play this video. Oh, you'll do it. So what you see here, we have rapids, and we have, thank you, and we have some space in between. And in order to get further, you need to hit the right note more or less in this field. So this is an approximate way to read music. This is how we start. And later on, the gap where you can go through is getting a bit more narrow. And only afterwards, when you succeed with this kind of level, you will get to the actual notes, to the actual stones. So this is like a way to explore the notation system, to understand where is high notes, where are middle notes, and where are deep notes, to understand the directions. I will now show you another video where you can see a boy playing Tuny for the very first time. And it's very interesting to observe how he starts with random sounds and then step by step understands the directions. Okay, so this is the way you get closer to reading music. You understand on the piano, right side is high notes, and you have to play high in the music notation system. It's not obvious for young kids. That means what we have here in TunyStones, we have learning through a fully gamified notation system and through autonomous exploration of the notation system, because this is what's happening in the very beginning. You explore, you try out, and you see what's happening. And now this is a quote by Confucius, which I will try to translate. I'm sure there are much better translations. It's very spontaneous now. So what you tell me, I forget. What you show me, I remember. And what you let me do, this is what I understand. So I understand if you let me do things. And this is the philosophy behind Tuny. So to make sure that the knowledge, the skills stay with you, you have to, of course, try it out yourself. And instructing and telling things is less successful usually. Now you will see on this video our very new version for the guitar, which was developed very recently. It will appear probably in the next weeks on Android stores and on App Store. And what you will see here in the very beginning is what happens if you play the wrong sound. So pay attention to to the part on the iPad, and you will hopefully not miss it. It's not very well visible. The quality of the video is not so well. But so what happens? He jumps into the according place in notation system, and as I said before, he's being pushed back by the stream of the river. And of course, then you need to make the same jump once more.
Igazából minden jókat, és azt mondta végül, hogy egy ilyen áldás, minden az egész életünkre, és hogy minden a levegőben.
Yes, so you could hear some sounds in the background, like this is being recorded in the living room, and this is a bit of a danger in the game, because of course it reacts to all kind of sounds. So you may confuse easily Tuny. That's why we have positioned the app right in the Spielhölle. So this is the most optimal place, because he's getting confused all the time, and yeah, of course it's not the most optimal place, but maybe it works there. So I was trying out, it works partly well, but of course in a silent environment it's much better to play with it. Does all this mean that it's game over for teachers? This is the question posed on this slide. Well, everybody who knows piano teaching and the wide fields in which piano teachers or music teachers are required, of course, knows that this would be a joke. This music app is very much focusing on music reading. So this is only one field in music education, and of course, it's very helpful, and you can play it at home. You can play it at home without anybody standing behind you and telling you what's right and wrong, because you get the immediate feedback from the app. But of course, it's also very good to play it in the music lessons, so this is also the way how we are using the app. But let me come back to the very first idea of this talk, namely the revolutionary role of tuning. And in order to understand it, I would like to step back into the 19th century, where you can see Franz Liszt here on this very famous image playing in front of his fans. He was a very capable pianist and a great virtuoso. On the left side, from your point of view, you can see the very last note of Franz Liszt's B minor sonata. And Liszt was able to read music, and he was able to write music. So he was able to be an interpret, he was playing, and he was able to write music. It seems like something totally obvious and strange what I'm telling you, because it's very obvious in schools that you read and you write. However, there is a very strange thing happening in music education. This is a separation of the roles, where composers can compose and piano players can play the pianos, but it's not very obvious that these two roles are linked in one person. So it was much more obvious in earlier times. And what we're trying to do is to, from the very beginning, because you see this is elementary education, from the very beginning to enable kids and motivate and give them a tool to read music and to compose music in order to balance these two skills of reading and composing in the very, very beginning. And how is this happening? So I'll try to position Tuny here as Liszt. And here, what you can see here is the view of the composition mountain. So why mountain? We have in Tuny, we have mountains where the main content is put. So we have different mountains, and one of the mountains is a composition mountain where you find a lot of empty space to put your own melodies. So you compose here, and then, of course, you don't give it to another person to interpret this music you just composed, but you have to perform it yourself. So you compose your own music, you compose, in the same time, music are levels. Music are game components here. So you compose your own difficult or easy level, and then you go through it and you see how well you can play it. So this is how Tuny tries to join the revolution, which means that we would like to integrate composing right away into the education, into a general music education. So I think separating these two things is a not very fortunate development of the 20th century mainly. Summing up, I'm now already coming to we're close to the end of this little presentation. We have Tuny, who you learn with, and you play, you explore by the means of trying out sounds, so basically improvising, and you compose your own levels, and later on you play them. So these are the three mountains I was talking about, and this is the composition mountain. So if you go to the Spielhölle on the base ground of this building, there you can of course also explore Tuny by going out from the actual in-game part and trying out the different mountains. This is the very last slide, which concludes with two quotes, one by Confucius from the 6th century before Christ, and one by Tuny. So these two quotes are put next to each other, and for those who can read German, I recommend you enjoying these two philosophical statements about learning. And meanwhile, I'll show you a video from our social media, from our Instagram channel, where I also kindly invite you to find out more about the app. And in this video, you will see how the composition process is happening. We're speeding up a little bit in the very beginning, so that you can enjoy the whole video. And you will see how the interpretational process also is happening by this young boy who is first composing a melody and then playing it with Tuny.
Play again.
This one is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you very much for your attention.